What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Overwatch Observers Podcast. I'm your host, Zista, aka Dom. With me is Mike, aka Thilidrin.
Hi.
And John, aka Nahajim.
Nahajim.
How's it going?
Good.
So, have you guys heard of this game, Overwatch?
No.
Nope. Totally.
Who are you people?
Okay, well, that's our show, guys.
All right, see you later.
I totally haven't heard of it.
I'm kidding. So,
I totally haven't heard of it.
well, all right, so...
What's this?
Exactly. And what's this t-shirt I'm wearing? You know? So, I know me and... for those of you that watch us who do Battle Talk, you know, our Warcraft podcast, you guys know me and Mike, obviously. John is Mike's lifelong friend. How long have you guys known each other?
Too long. Since
Way too long.
So like 25, almost 21 years.
22 years.
22.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we graduated. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Too long.
More or less. So, I know me and Mike heard about Overwatch at BlizzCon, because we were both there for that. John, you were not at BlizzCon. When did you first hear of Overwatch?
About the day it was announced on the internet. Yeah, it was on I just popped an article up on Kotaku. I was like, Blizzard made Pixar.
Yeah,
cool.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw the trailer. I was like, did Pixar do the intro for them? Because it didn't look like any of their other cinematic work. You know.
Yeah, my original thought was, did Blizzard just hire Pixar and Valve to make a game for them and slap their name on it? What's going on over here?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So, John, what is your background on Blizzard games in general?
Wow, I guess it goes all the way back to Diablo 2 and the first StarCraft is about when I kind of started playing Blizzard games, and then I played Warcraft 3. Then a little WoW for a little while, some StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Yeah. All of it.
I actually have never played any of the original Warcraft games. None of them. I'm the black sheep of the family here. I've barely played any of the StarCraft games. Diablo 1 was the first one. I was in a beta for that. I have an alpha CD from very early Diablo. And I actually got a chance at this last BlizzCon to talk to some of the Blizzard people to see who was still on the team from the original Diablo. It was kind of cool. And Diablo 2, Diablo 3, obviously, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and...
oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that.
Mike,
I forgot that's a Blizzard game.
Yeah. Mike, how about you? Where you sit on there?
My first Blizzard game was StarCraft 2, and then I went on to Diablo 2.
StarCraft 1, fool.
Oh yeah, StarCraft 1. Why did I say 2? I don't know why. Yeah, my first game was StarCraft, and then Diablo 2, and then everything since.
So, with all this collective amount of Blizzard games under your belt, what was your initial reaction to this game?
Considering Blizzard just, the year before Heroes of the Storm became big and on everybody's radar, it's like, oh, look, Blizzard is expanding into another, game genre. That's nice. And then all of a sudden, it's like FPS. It's like, oh, look, Blizzard is yet again expanding into another game genre. I like it because Blizzard always puts forth a high-quality product, and a Blizzard FPS would, in my opinion, just be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was a Blizzard game. I really didn't. When I first saw it, I'm like, are you sure this is Blizzard? Because this looks like Valve, but prettier. It really threw me off, and I know, they're going to make it great because it's Blizzard. They always make sure they are like Valve in that regard, that their games are going to be good. They're going to be play tested till the end of time.
Right. So they're going to come out when they're ready. They're not going to come out before that, So that's the one thing you can expect out of a Blizzard game is quality. Yeah. Me and Mike actually got some hands-on play with Overwatch at BlizzCon, and I think I could speak for Mike when I say that game is already extremely polished and probably could be in beta right now.
Yeah, I got to agree. My first impression was extremely polished, a lot of fun. Why isn't this already in beta? But then I thought about it a little bit more, in the months since BlizzCon. We only had a couple maps. They had how many playable heroes? Everything that's been announced but 2, I think. So 12, I think they said.
Yeah, take the ones that are on the poster behind you and like the last
12.
3 that are on there. The slide 3 now with the exception of McCree, but yeah.
I got the list. I pulled the list up there. There were 12 playable, and I mean, there are definitely some balance issues, I think. But, I mean, I think they just threw together the most polished parts of the game to show us so people had a playable thing. I don't know how the entire total game was faring at that point, but, yeah. It was a very, very fun experience.
Yeah, and, I mean... So that kind of took us by surprise at BlizzCon. We were, we didn't really know what to expect in terms of announcements or, we just went there expecting, okay, it's another Blizzard thing. And I wasn't expecting a brand new IP to launch.
No, I mean, when we walked in, we knew something was up because there was this huge computer area set up and there was nothing. All the screens were blank. There were, cloth sheets covering things and all that stuff. And meanwhile, the other computer sections, one of them said, Warlords of Draenor. One of them said, StarCraft 2, and they were all set up. It's like, okay, so that's obviously happening there. What the fuck is going on over here? Because the Heroes of the Storm section has a gigantic sign over it like, Heroes of the Storm, look, right here, guys. Come on,
I mean,
come
there
on.
weren't even, like, big graphics. Like, there weren't characters, there wasn't logos or anything even under tarps.
Nothing.
Because somebody could have came in and just started ripping tarps down, and just been like, oh, what is this? Before the opening ceremony. And there was nothing. They didn't have anything like that out there.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I walked the whole perimeter of the booth before it started because we had somebody else go get seats for us. I left, I went to go get a drink or something, and I walked the whole perimeter of that thing trying to see if there was because I remember when they announced Heroes of the Storm the year before, they had little cards with all the heroes, on them. And I was like, oh, well, if this is a new game or something, maybe they're going to give something to the people online. Let me look around. I'm looking, and all the boxes were still sealed. They were still sealed. The packing tape, everything over them. They weren't even open yet. So, they were really careful about this one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I was definitely not expecting a first-person shooter. I mean, we had, at the time, we had rumors of, what was it, Project Titan.
Yeah.
And that was the shooter MMO, that was going on. So do you guys think that this is what Titan, some spawn of it? You think it started off and then they're like, oh, let's just kind of turn it into this?
It could be, because Titan just finally got the kibosh fairly recently, correct?
It was just before Overwatch was announced. It was a couple months before.
So
it was 4 or 5 months before, but I don't know if, as far as story goes, I have no idea. As far as gameplay goes, I have no idea. I think maybe as far as engine goes, they probably use that.
Mm-hmm.
They probably use the engine and the assets and things on the hardware nature, so the hardware side of things, which is probably why they got Overwatch off the ground as quick as they did, because there was already a framework sitting there. Let's just paste some shit over it.
Yeah, previously the only first-person shooter that they tried to do before this was StarCraft
Don't
Ghost.
say it. Don't say. You said it.
And
That's the most depressing letdown.
yeah, so I'm really surprised that they kind of went back to the genre after that project kind of, I don't want to say failed, because it never got a chance to get out there.
Got off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, there's a playable version at BlizzCon of what? Was it 04, 05, something like that? I think it was 04. BlizzCon 04.
Yeah.
It was the same BlizzCon that you got the Murky pet for World of Warcraft. I know this because a girlfriend at the time had bought the goodie bag for me on eBay, and there was a whole thing about StarCraft Ghost in the pamphlet. And I still have that pamphlet somewhere, but it was playable there. People said it was a lot of fun, and it was pretty polished. It's the same thing, Overwatch, and it never got off the ground. I was really disappointed because it was kind of like a Halo-style... multiplayer battle map kind of thing. It's really cool. But this Overwatch, Blizzard is at the point now when a game is announced at the level that this was done with the cinematic and everything. This game's not going to be nixed before it's launched. Like this game is coming out, so we don't even have to worry about that.
Especially with the reception it received. I mean, they would be idiots to completely kibosh this game now.
Right.
They couldn't.
So, in terms of first-person shooters, before we get into the rest of the game, first-person shooters, what is your guys' experience with first-person shooters?
Where do I start?
Start at the beginning. What was your first-person shooter that you can remember playing? I'll go first. GoldenEye. What now?
On the console, GoldenEye. On PC, probably one of the Quakes, I think.
Yeah, Doom.
Definitely not Doom.
Not Doom.
Quake, one of the Quakes. Maybe Quake 2 or Quake 3. I'm not sure which one it was. But from there, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, Team Fortress 1 and 2, Left 4 Dead, all of those source mods. Where else from there? A lot of the Battlefields, a lot of the Call of Duties, Halo, all the way up until the only Halo I haven't played is 4. Sunk countless hours into all of them. Jeez. 250 hours into Team Fortress 2, and go it there. Easily more into Halo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can keep going. But I don't feel like
what was your big one? Your biggest one?
For console, Halo. For PC, Team Fortress 2.
Okay, John.
So basically everything, most of what Mike said, but a little less probably on the PC side because I never had like a great PC growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So the Half-Life series was a big one for me. We started. Obviously, we both started with GoldenEye.
All three of us.
Into that. What was the GameCube when we played it? Aged Under Fire?
No, Nightfire.
Or Nightfire. Oh my God, we played the shit out of that game for no reason.
It wasn't even a great James Bond game, but the multiplayer was so much fun for no reason.
Now, for me, first-person shooters are kind of hit or miss. Like, I loved Doom. Like, Doom was one of my favorites, and it was just so much fun, and it was kind of creepy, it was kind of scary. There was nothing really like it at the time. Wolfenstein, it was the same company, so, ID Software back then. But then, GoldenEye. GoldenEye was there was a huge gap. GoldenEye was the next one for me, and it was just, I loved playing it. It got to the point where I was using, Game Shark codes to, there was codes for additional levels, you could play Statue Park and the Cradle and stuff like that in multiplayer, and they had spawn locations, and I remember sniper rifles on the Cradle was incredible with the fog, and it was just so good. And then Half-Life got into that, and then from Half-Life I moved to Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and then on console. Console's always been my preferred first-person shooter experience, even though it's better to the mouse. You obviously have more control over it, but I feel with the console, it's almost like everybody has kind of the same amount of twitch reaction. It's a lot easier than it is on the PC. I don't know, because PC I don't. People are gonna argue the other way that it's probably better the other way. I find it better on the console. It's just everything's more isolated and it's close by, and the PC, the controls are spread out all over the place. So
I think probably the thing is the skill ceiling is a little lower.
Yeah. Maybe
for consoles, because you could do almost anything with a mouse.
Yeah.
So you need to be real good.
Well, the only official platform that this is announced for right now is PC. Do you think this is a game that's going to be on console as well?
God, I hope not.
I doubt it.
Really? Why do you hope not?
I don't know, because Diablo worked on the consoles. It worked because it's an action game, and I think it's a little better. Yeah. I liked it better. I still prefer it, but this game, I don't know. Just because they're going to need to update it a lot, there's going to be a lot of balance changes, and patches are really hard to get to consoles right now.
Yeah,
So I don't want it to end up like TF2, because TF2, I own it for the console. It was on the orange box, but it's garbage. It's not worth playing because it's the basic TF2, whereas the computer version I have like 420 hours in, and it's great because it has all the updates. So
Right.
I just don't see them
How does
keeping
Diablo
up with
3
it.
fare with patching and stuff like that on console?
Few and far between.
Really?
We just got one that brought us up to maybe 2 or 3 patches ago for the PC, and that took months. I mean, the Ultimate Evil Edition was the only update since like last. Oh my god, like years ago from the first game.
So it's
So
probably
it's
fair to say at this point that if it was cross-platform, that we're not going to get cross-platform playability.
no.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we don't even have that in Diablo, which seems like that would be the easiest one to do.
Yeah. But how many cross-platform games are there?
Because
with
I know
cross-platform
there's obviously
playability?
restrictions with crossing over between Sony and Microsoft kind of thing, but
Yeah.
Microsoft has crossed over in the past with PC, and Sony's done the same thing as well. If you look at Portal 2 on Steam, everything carries over between the two games, so there is the ability to do that. It's just
A pain in the ass.
yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Blizzard. I think Blizzard would prefer, shipping a more polished PC game because let's just face it, that's kind of their niche.
Yeah, it's kind of the console restriction on it too, is because they have to submit the patch. The patch has to get like checked by, Sony or Microsoft, and then it's got to get uploaded, and they only upload on certain days. I know
Yep.
PlayStation does like Thursdays or something like that, and Xbox
Xbox
does
is Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if some game-breaking bug comes in the game on Wednesday, then they have to rush out, get the patch. It's not going to get submitted until, and
Yeah.
Then either PlayStation's going to get it before Xbox or vice versa. And
Yeah,
it's,
if they break something for PC, hotfix, it's pushed out in a couple hours.
Yeah, it's there.
yeah. So I think their main focus is probably best to stick on PC for now, and maybe once the game is more completed and polished, then obviously while it's in beta, it's pointless to put it on console. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
yeah. So this is very much like a Team Fortress style game in the terms of there's a lot of team based objectives and stuff like that. The two we have are payload and point capture. Which one is your preferred playstyle?
If I'm coming from the Team Fortress standpoint, payload was my favorite. I mean, the capture point, capture and hold the point maps were fun, some of them, but I had way more fun on payload maps.
Yeah, I mean, I like them for different reasons. Payload was definitely the more fun overall, but I did like that the capture point ones tended to end a little quickly. So like you could get a game done in 5 or 10 minutes if your team was good.
Yeah, that was the bonus, to playing a capture point map because the point you have to hold isn't moving.
Right. Payload's tricky, but I love Payload. Don't get me wrong. That probably is my favorite.
I prefer point capture, but not the type of point capture that was in the beta test that we played. The one that we played was, or was it? The one we played, was it like you advance and then you're like pushing through?
It was
or they're just random spots throughout the map?
No, the one we played it wasn't like King of the Hill style capture and hold. It was capture the point. Once it's captured, another section of the map opens up and you get to go capture the next point.
So it was a progressive.
Right. It was
okay. So yeah, that is the kind of point capture I prefer. The King of the Hill style capture point, where it's just like there's point A, B, and C that are all available at once, and hold this one. I don't care for those.
If it's see, for those ones, that's really tricky, especially when there's like say 3 or 4 dynamic points that could shift at any given time.
Yeah.
The Team Fortress one, where it was like say there's 5 capture points, but only like 2 of them are up for contention at any given time.
Yeah.
Or it's whatever like that. So you can't just have someone run all the way back to the base and capture the 5th point. You have to push them back that far.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because Team Fortress Classic was my all-time favorite of the shooters that Valve has put out and stuff like that. I've put so many hours into Team Fortress Classic. It was ridiculous, and that was always the kind of style maps I loved playing. Was they even had the escort map. I would like to see that because that was kind of like a payload, except
Oh
one of the
yeah.
people was the payload.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and that was kind of cool because they were armed with nothing but a crowbar.
Yeah.
So
Something like that would be fun. But I mean, if you went with a single point King of the Hill, make it a single point
right.
in the middle. Those are
Yeah.
some of my favorite games, favorite maps in Team Fortress.
Yeah. But so I think that was really because I also liked the capture the flag one where you run into the enemy's base, you take the flag, and you run back to your base and capture it. Like I really like those too. So I don't know. Do you think these two map types are enough, or do you think we're going to see some more afterwards?
We'll see more.
There's going to be more. Absolutely.
I think this is just like I said, this is what they had ready in a playable state that wasn't going to have, glitchy textures. Or I think I saw Phaedra say, or someone was saying back up in chat that when someone played Reaper at BlizzCon, they phased, they glitched through the floor using his teleport
Yeah.
maneuver. So I think
see,
these were just the maps that were ready.
I see Omikins in chat saying, so Dom doesn't like Arathi Basin. No. Arathi Basin was like my least favorite of all the battlegrounds in vanilla. So Warsong Gulch was my all-time favorite, and that's the Capture the Flag. I loved Capture the Flag.
Who doesn't like Capture the Flag?
So
And then I liked Alterac Valley was probably my second favorite, and that's point capture. It's and push back point. It's exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there, Arathi Basin. Was there a fourth, or was it just
not back then?
Yeah, no. So Arathi
Vanilla.
Basin was my least favorite, and then Eye of the Storm was the next one, and that was kind of a point capture the flag kind of weird crossover hybrid. So
I love that one.
They tried.
There's room for hybrids here too.
I wouldn't be surprised. We're gonna get the standards, capture the point. We'll get payload as we saw. We'll get capture the flag. I can't imagine we wouldn't get capture the flag. And then, there is room for hybrids. Something whimsical, I would expect from Blizzard.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play this game called Minimum? It's on Steam, but it's a third-person shooter game. But there's a really cool game mode in it where that game actually has it's kind of like a lane pushing kind of thing. But creeps will spawn in certain areas of the map, and you have to kill them, at certain times. And then you kill them, you get these parts, and you power up these giant robots. And then you have to try to get your giant robot into to beat the enemy giant robot, and then get them into their base to knock down their defenses and destroy their reactor. I think this game would be really cool with something like that. Like if it had this sort of kill these little dudes, power up your big dude, escort your big dude. So it's sort of a little bit like Payload, but it has a little element of I guess almost like a MOBA in a weird way.
You made me, saying that, you made me think of Battlefield 2142, the Titan mode. Capture and hold the points. The points shoot missiles at the Titan. The enemy Titan, once the shields go down, invade it. It's a gigantic flying airship. Invade it and blow it out of the sky.
Yeah, that would be
like that.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
As it stands right now, 4 maps have been announced. King's Row, Temple of Anubis, Hanumura, and recently at PAX East we were just... Gibraltar was the newest one. And it's split right down the middle. We have 50% payload, 50% capture point. King's Row and Gibraltar are payload, and Temple of Anubis and Hanumura is point capture. So,
yeah.
I'm bad at. I'm gonna butcher names. Just keep that in mind. That's gonna happen forever. That's never gonna change ever.
Don't worry, we're here to help you, Tom.
Hanumura.
Hannah Montana.
Yes, right. Hannah Montana.
Oh, God damn it.
Is a point capture map.
Got it. Where'd all the viewers go?
They're gone.
And they're back. They came in like a wrecking ball.
Oh, fuck you. Moving on.
I thought that song was dead.
Nope. It's never gone. As far as story goes, we're going to go more in detail depth on the story in our next episode, but I would like to point out that they have announced that there is not going to be any single player campaign, which I kind of feel like even just a single player tutorial isn't necessary. They haven't said that there's not a tutorial, so keep that in mind, but there's no campaign. This is Blizzard's first single-player game. Or non-single-player game, I should say.
Right.
Every other game has had single-player in it with the option for multiplayer. Or most games, anyway. But, actually, I think they all... Except for the first Warcraft, right?
No, I think that had a campaign.
Did it?
I think
No,
that
I
had a
mean multiplayer. The first Warcraft, I don't think had multiplayer.
Maybe not, because it might have been before.
Yeah.
Before time itself.
Yeah. I mean, even Rock and Roll Racing on Super Nintendo, and I think it was on Sega. I don't remember. It was definitely on Super Nintendo. Even that had multiplayer on it, but it wasn't like online, obviously, but it had local multiplayer. So this is going to be the first one without any single player. It's kind of a weird step for them. What do you guys think of that? Is single player necessary for a game?
No, it's not necessary for a game because there's plenty of good games out there that don't have a single player component. There's one that's there that's just not coming to mind. I'm done. It's gone.
Well, I mean, you could even take the game I just mentioned, Minimum. It's all multiplayer. You can't do... There's not even a tutorial. It's just, have fun. Go.
Right. I mean, Heroes of the Storm is kind of, in that line, but you can play solo if you want to. That's an option.
Yeah.
I guess there's not... I mean, there's a tutorial mode, but it feels more like a single-player campaign to me. And have they come out and said one way or the other if there's ever going to be a single-player campaign for Heroes? I don't think they've officially said one way or the other.
No, I don't think there's going to be because I'm pretty sure there isn't a single-player campaign for any other MOBA. No. Dota, League of Legends, or Smite, or anything like that.
But yeah.
It's not to say they couldn't, but no, they don't need it.
I mean, and with this game, I feel like they're probably going to do maybe just what TF2 did, have maybe a bot mode where you could, practice.
Yeah, I definitely hope there's bots.
And that might not be right away because it took TF2 a long time to get the bots working. But it'd be really cool if they eventually had like the man versus machine mode, like TF2, where it's like just all co-op versus AI. That could be interesting too.
Yeah, but the funny thing is they're really developing the story for this game. It's not like Heroes of the Storm, where Heroes is like, okay, here's every character that you know of. You already know all their stories. We're just going to loosely say that they're all tied together through this magical thing called the Nexus. And that's as far of the story you need. Overwatch, there's background for characters. There's reasons why they're fighting. The whole cinematic that we saw, establishes that they're they were this group of protectors, and then it was disbanded, and there's rogue renegade people running around doing things, and it's like they're really focusing on the story for that game, and that really surprises me for a non-single player multiplayer game, or a non-single player shooter, I should say.
Yeah,
I can't think of anything else that really does that.
Not much. Team Fortress did it very loosely.
It was joke video kind of things. It wasn't like...
Right.
Yeah, there's no real story to...
It's like you don't learn what the scout's name is. You don't learn what the heavy's name is. You don't see what they were doing in their life before they became this. And it's like they're really going in and developing these characters.
Right. I mean, you get that a little bit in their comics. They had... Obviously, TF2 is famous for their cinematics and the movies that they've made for the characters, but... Some of the comics even have a little bit of backstory, but again, it's very jokey. It's a cartoon. I mean, it's meant to not be taken seriously. So, I don't know what maybe they could get away with that, where they just release movies, shorts, independent from the game, and just give these characters, give each character their own little movie to explain their life a little bit, and do it in the game's engine. Show it off that way, if they could do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of that with Warcraft and stuff now, and they're really using the in-game to tell their stories, and different cutscenes actually evolving within the game itself. And without a single-player campaign, it's going to be difficult to do that within the game. So yeah, it's probably going to have to be like YouTube Shorts and different things like that. So, but
which I'd be okay with.
Yeah.
I really would.
Perfectly fine with it.
I mean, at the same token, we have such a diverse variety of characters here, and this being a brand new IP, we kind of do need some background on them instead of just giving us random names and throwing them out there. You know, like even in like League of Legends and stuff, when heroes come out, they give backgrounds on them. They
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
But I think like the art style for each of the characters, like it's so very distinct. You could learn a lot about them just by looking at them. Like you know immediately who Hanzo is by looking at him. You know,
right.
like he's a samurai with a bow. Like okay, we can figure out a lot about this guy right away. You know,
He's basically the Daryl of this game.
I was going to say Mitsurugi from
Well,
Soul
he's-
Calibur.
Well, yeah, he's a cross between Daryl and Michonne from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the diversity that we've seen in the roster. You know, especially just recently, one of the characters that was announced, Zarya, was announced at PAX East last week, 2 weeks ago. And this is kind of like a big step for female gamers and stuff like that, because this is like one of the first that I could just think of off the top of my head, character that's not like an over-sexualized female character. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they already got that in. Look at Widowmaker. But
Yeah.
and they give you
yeah, okay, so but this is a completely different body type and stuff. Like you actually have like a heavyset woman here. Like, you don't really see a lot of that in games.
no. They give you a whole backstory on her. She's a bodybuilder from somewhere in Russia, and yeah, I'm actually happy that they have her in.
Yeah.
And then
Wraith Faye in chat is saying Samus, but have you guys played Smash Brothers and played Zero Suit Samus? She's extremely over-sexualized.
Yeah. She's
So
got rocket high heels.
yeah. So I don't know.
Rocket Heels.
Yeah, I love her design. She looks fucking cool as shit.
She's badass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess there was some controversy, John, right? With her?
There was. So the initial thing was like, you know, Blizzard, we love your game. Just give us some different looking women. Because before Zarya was released, if you look at the cast, it's basically all, you know, kind of the same female body type. You know, skinny, curvy, you know, things like that. So they released Zarya. I mean, I'm sure they were planning on doing it anyway. But so everyone was like, okay, cool. She's buff. She's like tough looking. She's not like that hourglass shape, which is great. And I agree. It's awesome.
She's not going for Miss America pageant, basically.
No, she will punch Miss America right in the goddamn mouth.
Yeah.
But then the problem was that people were kind of throwing back like, oh, well, now she's just a Russian stereotype. Like she's a tough Russian woman. So, and I definitely get that argument. Like, you know, it is kind of its own stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it would have been the same thing if she was like German or something like that. It was like, oh, of course, the German woman's a tough guy, you know. But I don't know. I think the character's fleshed out enough that it makes sense who she is, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm glad she's here. So
it just at that point, it almost seems to me like the internet is bitching just for the sake of bitching.
The internet bitches for the sake of bitching every day.
Of course, it shouldn't come as a surprise. But I just kind of shrug stuff like that off. I mean, I'm glad to have the diversity. I know there's plenty of women out there that are glad to have this diversity in the game. It's a huge step forward in the right direction. And yeah, maybe this one character fits into a stereotype that people are upset with, but this is only the first character.
Yeah, very true.
You know, the first character to broaden the scope of this diversity. So there's plenty of room. They never said that there's going to be 23 heroes. We don't have a set number. This game could run for 20 years and we end up with 120 different people.
Yeah, they said their plan is to keep adding to it. So
as long as they can find new unique ways, you know, to have heroes play, there's no reason to stop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they could even go as far as, you know, different weapon sets too. Make the characters able to do different things outside their normal roles and stuff. So,
Yep. Yeah.
I'll play
So,
this forever.
every week we're gonna discuss some of the characters. This week we're gonna pick the most recently announced, the Zarya and McCree. We'll start with Zarya. Zarya is a tank. Her real name is Alexandra Zarnovia.
Zarya Nova.
Zarya Nova. She's 28 years old, a soldier. She's from Russia.
Krasnoyarsk Front, Russia.
Yeah, that. And
he knows.
she's affiliated with Russian Defense Forces. Alexandra was born in a remote Siberian village that was on the front lines of the Omnic Crisis, which began some 30 years ago. Although Russian forces defeated the robots and shut down their Omnium, the region was devastated by the conflict. Only a child at the time, Alexandra was surrounded by the post-war destruction, and as she grew older, she swore that she would gain the strength to help her people recover. Focusing on weightlifting and bodybuilding, Alexandria was identified by the National Athletics Program as a potential star. She trained extensively, moving up the ranks while representing her country, and was expected to shatter long-standing records with the upcoming World Championships. But in the tournament, an attack came from a long-dormant Siberian Omnium, and her village was thrust into war once again. Alexandria immediately withdrew from the competition and rushed home to enlist in the local defense forces, sacrificing the life of fame and fortune she might have had. Now she serves a symbol to some, a stalwart fellow soldier to others, but for Alexandria, it is chance to use her great strength to protect the ones she loves. So, I mean, that's a pretty fleshed out backstory for a shooter, especially.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
it's great. It doesn't really leave us asking more. There's not a whole lot of mystery around her. It's not like they're gonna come out with like expansion packs, and that's not how this game's gonna work. They're not gonna progress the story. This is as much as we need out of her. Everything else is what we're gonna get from her in game playing.
Yep.
And I think it's great. It's kind of got that. It gives the drive, the desire, her motives for being part of this game, and I love it. I love it. So she's a tank.
Oh yeah.
Her left click ability is the particle cannon. Did you guys have a chance to see that in action?
I
did.
I watched all the videos for her and for McCree. It looks good. It's just a short range. If you're in range, you're going to get shot with a laser constantly to the face.
That is some serious gun right there.
It's huge.
It is a really big gun. There is that. Or if she's feeling particularly, I don't know, playful, she's going to shoot a bunch of energy grenades at you with it.
Yeah, I mean, so it has a short range beam of destruction energy, so it's not like this thing's going to shoot to the other side of the map or anything like that. But it's seeming close range and pretty powerful. And alternatively, yeah, she can lob the explosive charge, which will strike multiple opponents.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that's really cool. She's badass looking. She really is. Her right click ability is a particle barrier, which shields all incoming attacks and redirects the energy to enhance her weapon's damage and the width of its beam. So the more she absorbs, the more damage she can do.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
that is badass. Her shift ability is a projected barrier. She stands around one of her teammates. The enemy barrier, or the energy barrier, excuse me, absorbs fire and boosts her particle cannon again. So it seems like it seems very similar to the or that's what.
No,
Yeah.
they both do. It's pretty
They
much
do the same thing.
Yeah.
One's for a teammate, one's for her.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. So she's not only is she a tank, but she's got a lot of support to her as well.
Oh, so far, all of the tanks have some sort of supporty like aspect to them. Because
Yeah.
Winston's got a bubble shield, and I believe Reinhardt just is a shield,
Is a shit.
basically.
More or less, yeah.
So, I mean, it's going with the theme of, takes a lot of damage, but could also help a teammate take a lot of damage.
Right.
And that fits her backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that.
And then her special is the Graviton Surge, which she launches a gravity bomb that draws in enemy combatants and deals damage while they're trapped.
It's just a big black hole grenade.
Yeah. More or less. That's pretty badass.
Mm-hmm. And you can just pair that with any other close range AoE. Hey, look, Zarya, there's a gravity bomb thing going out, and a Tracer just walks in and puts her ultimate on somebody and gets the hell out of there.
Yeah. See, normally I don't play tanks, but she seems interesting enough that I'll probably give that a chance.
Yeah, I would out of the 3 tanks, she seems like she would fit my playstyle the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had my hands on her, so I have no idea.
You haven't had your hands on her?
Oh, god damn it, Dom. I haven't had a chance to play Zarya in the game because she was announced after BlizzCon, so I will wait till later to make that judgment.
So you haven't had your hands on her?
No, I haven't.
That's what he said. Dom, I don't know about this.
I hate you both.
Yeah, I'm more of the, like, peek around a corner, snipe you, retreat. I'm like the sneaky kind of shooter. So, I used to play a sniper in Team Fortress Classic. I just love that whole hide, kind of ability. Mm-hmm. And that kind of sets up the next guy, McCree. Like, he's very, very much my playstyle.
Mm-hmm.
And going into this, I was like, oh, Reaper. That's my character. It's Reaper all the way. That's changed. It is now McCree. His belt buckle.
Look at the damn belt.
Yeah, the belt buckle says it all. Badass motherfucker. Bamf. Gunslinger. He's great. Yep. So the cool thing with him, his name is Jesse McCree, which, funny enough, shares the name with a Blizzard employee. There is a Jesse McCree that works at Blizzard, so that is really cool to be able to say I had a character named after me. He's got to be loving that. So
he probably is.
So in game, not at Blizzard. In game, Jesse McCree is 37 years old. He comes from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he's formerly a member of Overwatch. Before it was disbanded and all that. His backstory is armed with just his Peacekeeper revolver. The outlaw Jesse McCree doles out justice on his own terms. McCree had already made a name for himself as a member of the notorious Deadlock Gang, which trafficked an illicit weapon and military hardware through American Southwest when his associates were busted in an Overwatch sting operation. With his expert marksmanship and resourcefulness, he was given the choice between rotting in a maximum security lockup and joining Blackwatch, which is Overwatch's covert ops division. He chose the latter. Although he was initially cynical, he came to believe that he could make amends for his past sins by righting the injustices of the world. McCree appreciated the flexibility and afforded to the clandestine Blackwatch, unhindered by bureaucracy and red tape. But as Overwatch's influence waned, rogue elements within Blackwatch sought to bring down the organization and turn it into their own ends. Wanting no part of infighting, McCree set off alone and went underground. He resurfaced several years later as a gunslinger for hire. But while McCree's talents are sought after by parties great and small, he fights only for causes he believes are just.
Mm-hmm.
He is badass motherfucker.
Get it back up there.
Badass motherfucker.
Yeah, right there.
I want to be him when I grow up.
Can you grow an epic beard like that?
No.
Me either.
So, it turns out I just watched like a bit of an analysis on, Overwatch and whatnot. Someone who had hands-on time with it, unlike me. Sad. Apparently, he's very slow walking. Like, he's about as fast as the heavy is in TF2. Like,
really?
He does not look slow, but he just plods along. It's very strange.
Very powerful, though.
Yes.
He's very powerful. His special alone, his E ability, called Deadeye is probably the most broken thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
Did you guys have a chance to see the video for that?
I did,
yes.
but it's not as good as it looks.
It's not as broken as it looks because, one, they have to stay in his line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
For basically what the ability does is he lines up everybody in his line of sight. He takes up time lining up. The lower health they are, the quicker he'll line the shot up on them, and then he kills them outright. Blows
Straight
them
up
all away.
kills them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Full health
straight
or
murder.
1 bar, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Dead.
Right. So first off, they have to stay in his line of sight for the 2 to 4 seconds it seems to take for him to line that up. Second, he is standing perfectly still during this time. A decent Widowmaker on the other team will pop a couple of slugs in his head before he has a chance to shoot anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ways to counter it. I mean,
but it seems like a very sneaky way to do it is to go in like a window or an upper ledge or something and look down when people, are not exactly paying attention to those areas. I mean, a lot of us that are used to playing like the Call of Duty games and stuff like that, we're very aware of all our surroundings and stuff like that. But a lot of the Team Fortress players, I noticed some of those windows and other areas like that are not usually the first places people look, because Team Fortress, on the other hand, is a game that's more upfront and personal, where
upfront and personal, but anybody who's played Team Fortress for more than an hour and has gotten killed by, really tricksy snipers, they know to look in all of those windows.
You learn the spots very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, good McCrees are going to find all of the, little nooks and crannies and decent hiding spots to unleash that from. I mean, obviously, a McCree that just walks out into the middle of the open and be like, "Hi guys, I'm about to kill y'all," isn't going to work very well unless he's got like a Reinhardt standing in front of him, shielding him or something. Right. But yeah, it's pulled off. It's going to be broken as hell, but it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be devastating. It's going to be game changing. That ability alone, I think, is going to take over, and just change the map. Like,
it depends.
You could come back from a payload really easily. They think they won. They're about to push it in, and here comes McCree. Just happens to get like a good vantage point, takes out the entire team in one shot, and now your team gets back and controls the payload, sends it back. Like,
it depends on what it's paired with, because from a couple of characters I played, Tracer's ultimate is an insta-kill, the grenade. Hanzo's ultimate is also an insta-kill, and that thing just pierces straight through walls. It's a massive dragon.
There's a Dargan.
Or what about pairing Zarya and McCree up and put McCree inside the projected barrier?
Or, like I said, put Reinhardt in front of him, channeling his hammer shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got a lot of health. Or, like, for Hanzo, you pair him with Widowmaker. Widowmaker's ult reveals vision. You could see through walls. Well, isn't that fun? Hanzo's ult pierces walls. So, hot damn.
Mm-hmm.
So, pair McCree with somebody who's going to protect him for the 3 or 4 seconds it's going to take, or someone that's going to disable. Pair him with Zarya. She throws her gravity bomb. All of a sudden, everybody's sucked into a nice, tight little package.
Oh, God. I like that.
That ult is going to go so well with like I said, with Tracer. Nice, tight little package. Walk in. Oh, look, there's a bomb on one of you. You're all dead.
There's some nasty combat. So, McCree's left-click ability is the Peacekeeper. He's got a 6-shooter, and he could fan it out quickly, unload the whole chamber if he really wanted to.
There's nothing complicated about this. It's a gun. It's a
It's
revolver.
just a gun.
It shoots six bullets. He reloads it.
He's really quick on it. He can unload all 6 rounds really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, because not every gun is going to be able to just rapid fire 6 shots off like that.
I would imagine it's at reduced accuracy.
Probably. But don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a roll, right click, which allows him to dive, which kind of makes up for the ability that he's slow.
Yeah.
So, that's very effective. And his shift ability is a flashbang.
Well, let's not forget, during the roll, he reloads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. The flashbang, he throws out a blinding grenade, blasts enemies in a fairly small radius. If anybody's familiar with the flashbangs from Call of Duty, they're already going to hate that. So,
but it also says it explodes shortly after leaving his hand. So it's kind of like a throw it and it blows up 10 feet in front of him kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he throws it, turns quickly, so I'm assuming he can blind himself. Can you blind yourself or your friendly players?
From what I'm seeing, it's not like that kind of flash grenade. Because I have the video queued up and I'm watching it now. A tracer runs around the corner. He throws it. It explodes and she gets stunned. So I'm guessing everything caught the radius just gets stunned for a second.
Right.
So it's not an actual blinding flash with the ringing and everything like from Call of Duty and Rainbow Six and all that stuff.
So it's throw a flashbang grenade and then hit E immediately and kill everybody.
Yeah, but it's close range, so
right.
Yeah. And
well, that's that point when you're like, hey, look at me, guys, and walks out into the open. He can do that.
This would be a good counter for someone like, say, Reinhardt's channeling his shield. Stun his ass.
Knock him out.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you guys for this game?
10.
10,000?
Wow.
I'm not gonna get all, crazy and be like, oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 19. But
no, I would say 10.
I am definitely 10. I want this
solid
game.
10.
I'm probably going to play the ever-living crap out of this game, and assuming it is...
How many hours do you guys have put into Team Fortress?
240-something. I think it's 43.
I have 424.
Jeez. I don't even think I have that much on Left 4 Dead. I think I'm in like the high 300s for Left 4 Dead.
You do. Yeah, you had... I was looking earlier. You're over 300 hours for Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love me some shooters, especially gimmicked ones. Like, not just the straight-up, like, Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I haven't actually even played the newest Modern Warfare. I'm just so sick of the franchise.
I haven't...
Even though it's got the jetpacks and it's new, it's kind of refreshing. I'm sick of their style games, to be honest.
Modern Warfare 2 was the best one for me, and for
hands down.
Quite a lot of people I know. And it is still... That was the last one I played, too. Yep. As soon as it went like Modern Warfare 3, Black, and a new Call of Duty every year at that point, I was just like, oh god. Like I was considering picking up Black Ops, but then all of a sudden Black Ops is out for a month and they already have Black Ops 2 announced.
Right.
So I said, fuck it, I'll wait for the next Battlefield and hope that's good. And then DICE fucks that up.
Yep. Yeah, well, I think that about wraps things up here. So until next week, Mike, where can the people find you?
Twitter, Twitch, and Battle.net at Philodrin, right there.
Excellent.
Blocking
John, blocking your face.
There it is.
John, where can the people find you?
You can find me on the Twitter, Ovanya, at No More. And I do Let's Plays on my YouTube channel at it's Nahajm, Nhojm.
We need to get a Left 4 Dead Let's Play going.
We really do.
We do.
We got to do that.
We have to.
We got to pick a night. Just enjoy
yes.
It'll happen.
Play all night.
It'll happen soon. You can find me down below at Zista, XIZTA with an underscore. Don't forget that underscore at the end.
It's very important.
You can also find all three of us on YouTube /ASO TV podcasts for podcasts for
lots of TV shows.
Yeah, over 10 TV shows a week we do.
All of them.
So,
when you say how many we actually do a week, it suddenly strikes me and I'm like, oh my god, we really do.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot.
Dom's a busy man.
Doesn't seem like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so until next week, guys, we will see you later.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Farewell. Thank you for